Peace, peace, peace. Welcome all the way back to the Mixed Metals Podcast. I'm your host, Quan, aka Hard to Find. Um, it's been a minute once again. Been focused on my comedy thing. That's been going really well. Came in third and then second in a couple comedy competitions. So that's fun. That's encouraging. Uh, would really like to, push that as far as it can go and to where that is my primary source of income. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to, making bigger leaps, even bigger leaps and that kind of thing. I've only been doing it for about 8 months now, maybe 7 months. Uh, I think I'm into my 8th month. So, it's good to be like recognized in this in the industry and not in the industry, but recognized in the common circles of Atlanta comedy and stuff like that. So that's been pretty fun. The draft took place since I've been away. A lot of things have taken place since I've been away, but um, let's just focus on like more recent things. Uh, I thought it was very interesting that Shador slid as far down as he did. Of course, that's the number one story for whatever reason. Cam Ward going number one, no shocker there. I think uh, because it's the Titans and where they are currently, I think that's I don't think he's set up for success there. And that's unfortunate. Hopefully, he's able to be a part of them riding the ship um moving forward because I don't know. I think he's gonna have at least a rough couple years. Travis Hunter going to the Jags after the Jags traded up with the Browns. That was interesting. We knew Travis Hunter was gonna most likely go second. We just didn't know necessarily if it was gonna be for the Browns or with whatever team. So it's interesting that he's going back home, basically, where it all started for him. Happy for him. Looking forward to. I will be looking at. I will be watching Jacksonville games in addition to my 49ers. Um, Abdul Carter going to New York, the Giants. I don't understand the whole asking for legendary numbers thing. Like I would never understand that. I think that's just like I think that okay, so Nick Wright had a theory that it should be like purely based on the organization, whether or not uh as far as retired numbers go. Um and I can agree with that, but at the same time, it's uh it's like I think that the player, like I think that kind of where it is now, where I think the players should ask like the retired number players should ask whether or not we're having some lighting things going on here. Uh should ask whether or not the player wants that number. And it should never be in the hands of the hands of strictly the organization or hands of strictly the retired player. It should kind of be a group thing, but at the same time, I think that it should only be if the retired player brings it up. Abdul Carter shouldn't be asking Lawrence Taylor for it if he could wear his number. That shouldn't have ever been a story. Um, Ashton Genty going to Vegas. I think that's going to be interesting there with Pete Carroll. Especially Pete Carroll being at the age that he is, they are in win now mode. My 49ers got a lot of defense in the draft in the first few rounds. Got Michael Williams from Georgia, edge rusher, uh, with uh, Robert Saleh coming back to be the defensive coordinator. I think that That's going to be clearly an area of focus. And I think that we will be all right on defensively. And I think we're gonna be pretty good offensively as well. We'll see what's going on with Christian McCaffrey. His age and his injury history combined is that doesn't like stink of success to me yet. But hopefully he's able to. I mean, he basically didn't play last season. He played like 4 games or something like that, and was back on IR. And hopefully, a full summer of recovery and that kind of thing. Now that they, given the diagnosis, hopefully he's able to work on those areas and be able to come back and produce. And even if not, I think that they have the 49ers draft well. That's just what they do. A lot of the players that have been traded or anything like that have been drafted from the 49ers. So I think that we're in a good spot draft wise. And I think that we are in good hands with Shanahan. Um, just hoping, if we get back to the Super Bowl in the next couple of years, I hope that we are able to, step through that threshold instead of just standing at the doorway. Uh Falcons drafted a linebacker. That's pretty interesting. I think that them working strictly on defense in the first round was definitely needed. Curious what they're gonna do with Kyle Pitts. I think that he is probably on the block. Um, I can't see them working with him for much longer. I don't, I think he's kind of in I don't know. I don't think he has produced up to his draft stock. Um, and that's just my opinion. Uh, but yeah, moving on to that fifth round where Shador was drafted, um, sixth, fifth round, sixth pick. Uh, wow. Like you look at the names around him in that round and look at the names before him. Many would be surprised, including me, that Jalen Milroe went before him, and this is coming from an Alabama fan. I don't know that I see uh, a quicker road to success for Jalen Milroe than I do for Shador. Um, I I do think that there is some humbling going on there. I think that they were trying to teach the Sanders family a lesson. Um, and we'll see if it got through. I think that this will only inspire Shador to work harder and to far exceed his draft pick. And so I'm looking forward to see what he'll do. Right now, I think that they said that Joe Flacco is in pole position over there. They have a overfilled quarterback room. They got Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, who they also drafted before Shador. Shador, um, not really counting Deshaun Watson because he's pretty much we may never play in a Cleveland Browns uniform again, but he will definitely not be playing this season, um, barring some kind of miracle. Uh, so, I mean, I think in my mind it'll be between Joe Flacco and Shador Sanders. I think I think Joe Flacco went there to start, to be a starter because he could have gone anywhere, especially given his age. I believe he's 40. He could have gone anywhere to be a backup, to be, a veteran, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. But I think he went there to start, so that'll be, interesting to see how that shakes out with that quarterback competition. If Joe Flacco was to be QB2 in that situation, I'm curious to know if he would take Shador under his wing and teach him up and be of service to the Browns and to Shador. Um, so yeah, that's all I wanted to get at with the draft. Let's talk about baseball. I went to a baseball game a couple weeks ago, late April, to see my Cardinals. This is my first time seeing my favorite professional team play against anybody like in my life. So like I've been to an Alabama game, I've been to a Georgia Tech game. If you've listened to my show, you know that I love those teams. But those are college teams. I've seen I've seen the Braves before. I've seen the Braves several times actually. I had seen the Hawks several times. Now I've seen my favorite player play. I've seen LeBron play twice, and I've seen my first and second favorite player on of all time on the same team when I saw LeBron the second time uh, with Melo. So, I've been able to see my favorite players and those kind of things. I saw Jalen Hurts his last season at Alabama. Um, I've seen it, but this is my first time seeing my favorite team. And in that game, the Cardinals won 10-4. They did end up losing that series to the Braves, but the one game I went to was a game that they won and they showed out. So that was fun. Um, but anyway, the Cardinals have been on a 7 game win streak right now, and they are currently up on the Nationals 2-1. Um, it's very they 21-19, but that's it's insane to think that that's very early in the baseball season. Um, I think we are number 2 in our division right now. Yes, right behind the Cubs, or 2 games behind the Cubs. And the Cubs are the class of that division right now. So they appear to be the only true competition. We've beaten up on everybody else so far. And I think that we've taken a couple games from the Cubs. Uh, or we might have gotten swept by the Cubs, actually. I can't remember. Um, but it's looking good for the Cardinals so far this season. Uh, Yankees 22-17 top their division. Detroit 26-14 top their division. Seattle Mariners top their division 22-16, only 2 games up on the Athletics. So that's pretty interesting. It's also pretty cool to see that the Athletics are just the Athletics right now. Like you got the Seattle Mariners, the Houston Astros, the Texas Rangers, the Los Angeles Angels, and the Athletics because they're in a transitional period. I think they're moving to Vegas as well. Also, the pipeline between Oakland and Vegas. I think that's interesting. Uh, I can't think of any other Oakland teams that would be able to move there. So I wonder, like, what's the next team to move to Vegas, or are they just gonna start a new franchise there? Which a lot of people are speculating in the NBA. It'll just be the Vegas whatever's. Um, Padres are atop their division, and they share a division with the Dodgers, so that is pretty cool. Actually tied as far as the division lead because they haven't played the same amount of games yet. Um, Padres are 25-13. Dodgers are 26-14 as of right now. I didn't see the Padres jumping out to this kind of start, so I think that's pretty cool. The White Sox, the worst team in baseball, and well, actually no. The Colorado Rockies are the worst team in baseball. They are 6-33. That is pitiful. But the White Sox are right behind them at 11-29. I had been reading some preview articles before the season started, and they were talking about how the White Sox could definitely be the worst franchise in baseball. And I don't know if I can remember like looking at a preview article and it being as like dead to rights as it is. That is pretty cool, pretty amazing actually. We can move on to hockey. Let's see. The Hurricanes beat the Capitals yesterday. Uh, and they have a 2-1 series lead. The Golden Knights beat the Oilers, but they are still down. They are down 2-1. Um, Jets play the Stars today. Maple Leafs play the Panthers today. And by the time you're hearing this, those games will have already happened. Um, Last night in basketball, the NBA, Minnesota beat Golden State 102 to 97 behind Anthony Edwards 36 points. Um, Jimmy Butler had 33 points, but it wasn't quite enough. I think those are the kind of games that show you though that, especially with them being without Steph, you have to kind of step on their necks if you're Minnesota. And I think that they left the door open a little bit too much probably for Golden State, and I think that they may end up going back to Minnesota tied 2-2, and that would open the door for a Steph return. Um, doesn't sound like Steph is too confident about returning, um, but especially with this being the first time he's dealt with this type of injury, it's usually lower leg, but he's dealing with a hamstring injury. Um, So we'll see if he is able to come back and at what percentage he's able to come back at. Um, Boston thumped the Knicks finally. I don't. I do think that they had to do that. So I still have them going back to New York down 3-1. Um, I mean, we'll see what happens. That's just I them being able to blow those 20-point leads the way that they did, and I mean, I know it's an anomaly. It can be looked at as an anomaly with Jason Tatum um struggling to score the way he was, and them relying on the three so much. They've shot 145 threes, I believe, through 3 games. Um, that is way too many threes. I don't care what, like, and I'm kind of rooting for the Knicks to kind of make that die down. Everything has its like is error, if you will. And like as far as so there was a very defensive error, with the hand checking and those kind of things, and then the hand checking got taken away in the NBA, and then it kind of shifted back towards scoring. And then with scoring, giving them space and the advent of the 3-point shot, it kind of spread a little further. But I think especially during the playoffs, it kind of balances back a little bit. I do still think that is catered more towards the offensive player than the defensive player. Um, but I everything has its errors. So maybe we'll get back, especially seeing how the refs are just letting them play in this playoff. I don't think I've ever seen them swallow the whistle as much as they have in a playoff setting or otherwise. So maybe there is a shift happening to where it'll get a little bit closer. I still think that where we are right now, offense will have a significant lead for a long time, but I think the defense is making a comeback if that makes sense. Uh, OKC down 2-1 will play at Denver today at 3:30. Cleveland at Indiana. That's a very interesting series. Indiana is up 2-1. Um, Cleveland did get the 3 injured players back, Mobley, Hunter, and Garland. So maybe that's the real Cleveland. I do think that them being whole, they the number one seed, the number one seed in the East, and that has to be for a reason. So I think that maybe that water has found its level, but again, Indiana has Indiana was in the conference finals last season. Halliburton got hurt, so with a fully healthy Indiana, I don't see how we can count them out. Rick Carlisle is a great coach. Um, he knows what he's doing. So I just I don't want to count Indiana out. I think I mean, I would consider it a must win for Cleveland, but Indiana wins this game, and I don't know, man. I don't know. Might be Indiana in the finals. Might be. Um, move on to music. Uh, so far this year, Bodie James has been dropping nonstop. I think he's dropped 5 albums this year so far, and we are in May. That is a one album per month average, which would be a lot for anybody. Um, he's dropped some pretty good ones though. Conversational Pieces, I think, was the most recent. We're anticipating Erykah Badu and Alchemist album this year, and Yasin Bey and Alchemist album. Alchemist been working his ass off, honestly. So I'm interested to see that. My wife and I went to see Tyler, the Creator, his concert earlier this year. One of the best concerts I've ever been to. And then we followed that up by going to see Kendrick and SZA, which was my first stadium show. And man, I that is an experience I can't explain. I can't like, and I would never want to take it back like that. That's one of the greatest experiences of my life. It's my first concert I went to with my sister, um, and I mean, I had a blast. Hopefully, we'll be going to the Wu-Tang concert later on this summer. It's supposed to be their final tour, so I would love to see that. Enter the 36 Chambers is one of my top 5 hip hop albums of all time. I think it's one of the most important hip hop albums of all time. Um, I can get into that anytime. So uh, shows, been watching The Last of Us. I'm trying to get my wife caught up on DC. So we finished Superman and Lois a couple weeks ago. We're watching some Supergirl now, just to get her, because they got Supergirl coming out next year. I'm very excited about the Superman movie coming out, the James Gunn Superman movie. Um, we saw Thunderbolts. I thought that was an excellent movie. Kind of seemed like Marvel got their mojo back. I was about to say Marvel got their DC back. Uh, we saw Sinners, another great movie. Um, the CG was but I mean, overall, I like the story that they told. Um, I like the questions that they asked, that they posed. And the singing performances were great to me too. Uh, let's see, been reading comics. I'm I'm personally reading Kingdom Come, and I'm reading Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Um, just to get me caught up to speed on that storyline. Um, been playing The Last of Us as well as watching the show, The Last of Us Part Two, to keep up with season two. Just been going back and forth in between those episodes, so I'm not as caught up on the show, but it's a quick watch. Um, been really into Solo Leveling this year. It's my like the first anime in a while that I've been like really really invested in. Um, I know the season is over, but I'm about halfway through season 2. Um, and I mean it's taken me a while to get to this point, but I'm enjoying every episode. Every episode better, more so than the previous. Um, and I believe that is about it. Try to talk to you guys later this week. And then next week, my wife's birthday is this week, so happy birthday to her. Um, other than that, you can find me at Hard to Find on all gaming platforms. Still trying to get situated with the streaming thing. Um, I'll hopefully do like at least a test run this week just to see the ins and outs. Um, and hopefully this episode will have a beat that I made for my intro music, and I made a different one for my outro music. So hopefully those will be featured here. If everything goes well, you will have heard both of them. Um, but other than that, I thank you for your time and see you next time. Peace.